Hello, everyone. Welcome to Stream of Consciousness, fourth rendition. Excited to say, keeping us going, and it's actually been doing what I wanted it to do, which is make me be more vulnerable than I'm used to being, and help me spend more time thinking about deeper things than my entrepreneur journey allows me to do. Although it does help a lot with my spiritual journey as well. Last episode we talked about fear, and this one I want to bring attention to the heightened sensitivity that comes to you certain stages or certain stage, say, in the spiritual process, and how to some of the patterns that I know are consistent across not just myself, but energy clients that I've worked with on what things present in their bodies in what way. And a lot of times along the spiritual path, we come upon, sicknesses. And I'm not at all suggesting that you don't do some medical whatever. Like, this is not a controversial thing. But this can be in addition to whatever else you're doing for those illnesses, sicknesses, struggles, whatever. And so I'll give an example so you know what I'm talking about here. If you're not aware already, which is, and this actually, I guess I should relate this to why this came up. I'm kind of at like this junction point where I have my own. I have a couple of things that I'm working on, but I have my own consultancy. I guess is the closest way you can really get to it. Where I go in and I put in the foundations for startups. Kind of take the baton from the CEO and say, okay, now let's systemize. Let's make sure your customers are getting enough attention. Your people are getting enough attention. You have a real onboarding job training program that actually gets people up to speed and gets people excited and understanding the vision and really thriving in their roles. All that kind of good stuff that doesn't usually happen and turns into a toxic environment that burns people out. So I do that, but in that process, like in, finding clients, and I've been lucky enough that I have been able to get clients, but I kind of, I really don't enjoy the process. And so as I started to think about, and again, if you heard my last episode, you'd know that I've been asking the fear question, and that's really opened up a lot of insight for me. And I think I've been doing things that are counter to that new insight. And so whenever I have like a new lesson, then I'm forgetting to kind of apply it, or I'm taking actions and living in a way that doesn't acknowledge it, that doesn't incorporate it. I get sniffles. I sneeze. I literally have, thank you, nose, right on cue. I really have an allergic reaction to whatever processing is happening. And this isn't just me. And I promise you that. I can guarantee you that if you tell me, oh, I had this random cold, I had this random fever, I had something happen with my jaw, I had something happen with this, I sprained my ankle, I broke my, whatever, I sprained my block, whatever, you get an idea. Whatever it is, I assure you that I could probably tell you the event or the pattern that's coming from. So I'm going to list off some examples that have been really transformative for people I've shared it with, in hopes that it helps you as well. So the first one is allergies. I actually went into a almost respiratory arrest from a pollen allergy. It was a really bad year in Georgia, and there was a lot of new stuff going on. I just moved into a new home. I just got married. We just moved into a new house. I just started a new job. I graduated recently. Like, a lot of stuff was happening. And I essentially had an asthma attack, and I don't have asthma, but I had allergies that bad. And, before I took, whatever normal things, I think it was like Zyrtec or whatever. And, it was miserable. It was absolutely miserable. I couldn't breathe most of the time. I sounded like I probably sound now. People always thought that I had a cold because my voice always sounded off or like stuffy or whatever, I guess. I'm not, again, I don't know. Maybe it's just how I sound. But allergies is a big one. When your body is allergic to something, what it's trying to tell you is, hey, you are not accepting something about your environment, or you're generally treating everything outside, the outside world, as an irritant, as an allergen. And this, think about those words just for a minute. I'll repeat myself. When you have allergies, it's your body telling you that your mindset, how you're viewing the quote outside world, so anything outside of yourself, or how you're viewing the environment you're in, family, relationships, etc., is something that you reject, don't approve of, or is in dissonance with what you really believe in. For me, it was a general, outside allergy. But I had seasonal allergies. It was during the spring, and of course, if you've lived in the South at all, if you know what I'm talking about in Georgia, like pollen, cakes, everything. It is disgusting. I'm not kidding you. Like half an inch thick on your car. All cars turn lime green during pollen season in Georgia. And it happens because, excuse me. It happens because, people were idiots. They planted the same amount of same type of trees, male trees, and so there's literally trees everywhere, every season. And so I started breaking it down into, I guess I should start with saying, I am now allergy free. I don't have any allergies. I live in Oregon, where a lot of people have seasonal allergies. There's like ryegrass and all sorts of things being grown nearby, and I do not have allergies. I did not go to a doctor. I did not go to anyone. The last year I was in Georgia, I solved my allergy problem, and it has not come back. Sometimes it resurfaces to show me, oh wait, there's something about your mentality. But I figured it out by looking into, okay, what exactly is pollen for a tree? Why is it that my body's not willing to take that on? And then also, why is it these kinds of reactions that I'm having? Why not in the hive, right? Why not something on the skin? Why is it respiratory? And so as I started to kind of think about these things, it hit me like it wasn't even a hit me. It was a very general, so I had to go in further. But even that generality really helped. The general thing was just, I'm an introvert, right? I don't really have a great relationship with like the bustling outside world, as we really don't. We live deeply but privately. And for me, it's like, what is the, it also happened in spring, right? So spring is creation, new life. Everything's active, things are growing. And so some of those kinds of things were things that I was either rejecting or felt like I didn't have. So there isn't going to be one thing that stands out. There are multiple things about your mentality that culminate enough and for a long enough time that your body's going, whoa, this is affecting us. This is not good for us. I need to help you recognize this in some way. And so here's how it comes out. And it'll come out in whatever area you're the weakest. So if your respiratory system's weakest, as mine has been historically from when I was a baby, then that's going to affect that. My dad, for example, his digestive system, he was a very sick baby. They were very poor. They didn't have a lot of resources. And so his weak point is not respiratory, it's digestive. So it always affects him there first. Where you're weakest is where your body shows you, because that's where it can't handle the amount of dissonance that your body's experiencing. So that's example number one, allergies. Example number two is any kind of neck ache, headache, migraines, for example. And those come to be because of, it depends on which direction. Left side of the body has certain meaning. Right side of the body has certain meaning. I'm not going to list those right now because I don't want to like make it too complex. So we'll leave that for another time, or drop it in the comments. I'll be happy to share each one with you. But when you have neck ache, migraine, etc., look at what you cannot do. What ranges of motion can you not take? So, for example, I've had times where like the left side of my neck is always the left side, just aches and aches and aches. But then other times it's like, habitual. I sleep on my left or whatever. But there's a difference. Like, wait a minute, I didn't sleep any more on my left than I usually do. So what's going on? And then sometimes it's on my right side. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And then also coughing, throat clearing, not so much like the allergy types, but where you're having a coughing fit out of nowhere, or your throat's really scratchy, you're needing a lot of water. Same thing as headaches and neck aches. Look, and I say headaches because, let me explain that a little bit. As a massage therapist, so trust me on this, is headaches actually a lot of times come from neck tension. They don't come from the head at all. It's usually a trigger point pattern from what's called sternocleidomastoid, or SEM. And so that's why I say headaches and neck aches, because headaches are really from neck aches. So it all is just from the throat chakra. And that's really what you want to focus on, is what am I not saying? So if it's something affecting your throat, you have a sore throat, you lose your voice, that's a big one. Anything like that, you want to first check, okay, what do I want to say, but am not saying? All right, that's a big one. And what reality do I know to be true to myself, right? What do I want? Like something you want. What reality do I know myself to be true, but I'm not following? Well, I'm ignoring because I don't want to acknowledge the truth. And third is direction. If you look left and look right, and looking right hurts a lot more, or looking back hurts more, then like, what decision have you already made that you're like maybe regretting a little bit, or looking back on wondering if you made the right decision, trying to see if you can go back to that same point and make a different decision at that fork in the road? Or if you're going straight, or if you're wanting to go straight, but you keep kind of going in circles because you're not quite focused, and you kind of want to explore things, so you go to the right, go to the left, and you have trouble turning your head in certain ways because, for example, if you only want to do creative things and things that feel good and like artistic things, and like if you only want to do what you want but not necessarily what then meets in the middle with what you need to do in society to, like, have a place to live, have food on the table, have blah blah blah, right? Those haves, those basic human haves that we all have to kind of sacrifice our wants for. Some people don't do that, and they completely go the other route, and they kind of get their successes on the shoulders of others that are willing to play the societal game, but they don't recognize it. And so if something going on your left side, and like your left side is really overused or whatever it may be, then it's probably because you're wanting to do things that like are very high level in your heart. Like, I want to do this, so I'm just going to go do it. There's a certain like selfishness, like you're feeding your emotional self. The left side is representative of the emotional self. You're feeding your emotional self a lot, but you're not feeding the other side of your body, the right side of your body. Or you're feeding the right side of your body, inverse, you're feeding the right side of your body, the societal side of your body a lot, the logical side, the reasonable side, the business side, blah, blah, blah. But you're not honoring your emotions and your deeper wants and fears and sadness and, that kind of stuff. So that's example number 2. First one was allergies. Second one is neck aches, throat pain, losing your voice, headaches, etc. And the third one is very, very common, I know from my time as a massage therapist, is low back pain, or just back pain. Low back pain is an interesting one because it's actually not a low back, like it's not a spine pain. It's actually a hip pain. It's coming from, excuse me. Sorry for the clearing noises. I can't pause on Riverside for some reason, because they don't have that feature, although they should. But the third example is hip and low back pain. Low back pain, presenting as low back pain, but it's really from the hip. It's from over rotation or like the curving in of the os coxa, which is the hip bone itself. And that happens. It's chronic too. I mean, it's bad. Everyone has back pain. One, because of our sedentary lifestyle where we sit all the time and don't ever stretch out our hip flexors. But even people that do yoga have back pain and hip issues. And this one stems from a couple of things. So if the back pain is, again, test the ranges of motion. That's the best thing you can do. If the back pain is stopping you from like, if it hurts when you move your leg forward, like for example, I had a major injury. I was kind of paralyzed for a little bit. I had to kind of learn how to walk and run again. And it was my right side. And it's whenever I moved my right leg forward more than a little bit. So when I took a normal step or a big step, there was immense pain all down my right side of my back, the entire spinal chain and the sciatic chain. Sciatic is the biggest nerve in your lower leg, in your hip area. People will say, "Oh, I have sciatica." Well, first of all, it's actually not sciatica. But anyway, so look at when does the pain come up? Does it come up when you are moving? Does it come up when you are resting? So like if it hurts more to sit than to stand, then that's something to note. If there's more pain as you're standing up from sitting, or as you're getting into motion, or if like pacing, right? If pacing makes it feel better, but then sitting still doesn't. All these things are things that can then tell you what is going on. So let's break those examples down a little bit further, right? If pacing makes it feel better, okay, movement makes it feel better. So that means that either I am not resting enough, or I've been maybe spinning my wheels too much and not actually taking action, because pacing isn't a forward momentum. It's a back and forth. It's a directionless movement. So if it feels better to be pacing than to sit down, or to be still, or to be, going towards like linear path, then likely you are spinning your wheels. You know what to do, but you don't want to do it. Again, fear comes up. You know what to do, but you don't want to do it. Or if you're sitting, if it hurts if you're sitting, then you don't allow yourself enough rest. You feel like resting is failure. You feel like resting is doing nothing. A lot of Asian cultures have this problem because we're told all the time, well, why are you resting? Why are you relaxing? Why are you reading a non-educational book when you could be when you could be learning, you could be outputting, output. It's all about like doing output, accomplish, output. So it could be because of that. And then the other thing to know about the hip and the back is it's also your direction in life. If you are struggling with that direction in life, your hip will absolutely act up. And it's usually, if it's more on your left side, it's acting up because you're having trouble processing the emotional aspect of the direction you want to move in. And if it's on the right side, it's like, you know what you want, but you're struggling with like how exactly it's going to come out between decisions. So for example, my right side, my injury really, usually acts up when I'm not being true to myself. I'm not honoring myself as far as what direction I want to go in. If I'm torn in what direction I want to go in, and I have like decisions before, maybe I have 2 offers or whatever, 3 clients I can choose from, or whatever it is, whatever option that I have before me, and I'm struggling with like which one to choose because maybe none of them are what I want, and I have to say no to all of them, which happened to me recently. Or what I'm choosing is based off of like a really awesome compensation package, but it's not really what, like, I've done it before, it's not exciting, it's not challenging, and like meh, I kind of feel meh about it. And for me, I do try to not necessarily follow this, but like if it's not a fuck yes, then it's a no. And I've been trying to go with that route a little bit more. And so it acts up. My back acts up when I'm having trouble being like, is this right decision to continue down my authentic direction? Or is it not? And so like when things are a detour or they're not quite aligned, my back acts up. And the last aspect of back pain, actually lower back pain, is sacral. So the sacral chakra is very present there, lower as well as your root chakra. So, for example, some hip pain, back pain goes all the way down to your coccyx, which is your tailbone, your butt bone. And starts the sacrum, of course. They're actually fused together, and this will happen when you have a lot of emotional baggage that you're not coming out with, that you're not acknowledging, that you're not bringing to the surface. It'll happen when you're don't feel secure and safe in your corporeal body. That's the root chakra thing. Or when, you don't feel like community, blah, 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 you don't feel like you can express yourself, you're not expressing the emotions you have, or worse, you're expressing the opposite of the emotion you have to try to save face or to be nice to the other person, to not offend the other person, for example. And so that causes a dissonance. It kind of creates this like two-facedness, right? Like you really believe one thing, but you're doing another thing for whatever reason. So those are the kinds of reasons to look into and think about when you have back pain, hip pain, etc. And then the bonus example I'll give, it's going to stop at 3, but there's another really good one that I have to share. And it's more prevalent in women. And that 4th example is any kind of like shoulder, arm, shoulder pain, including where people are always rubbing the back of your shoulder and you're right near your shoulder blade, between your shoulder blade and your spine. If you just like reach with your hand back to your like back, it's exactly where you'd land. And a lot of people are like, oh my, my neck, my shoulder, like it's the trap area, but it's actually it's your scapula. Scapula is the shoulder area, and whenever you have trouble there, it's actually trouble in the front. So the muscular wise, I'm giving away a lot of massage therapy secrets here. So if there's any LMTs in the audience, you're welcome. But where that really comes from is the pec area. It actually comes from your chest. So a lot of times women were surprised when they come in, get on my table, and they'd say, oh, I have this pain in my back and my shoulder blade, and I wouldn't work on that until the last few minutes of that section of the massage. I worked on the front. I worked on like all around in their armpits, because it's where the serratus anterior is. I worked on the pecs, and 9 times out of 10, I would ask, women, but I would ask these people, is there something they're doing where they are self-sacrificing out of love? Again, this is more common in women. So if you have that like scapular plane, think about, what am I holding on to that I don't want to do, or whatever it is, out of love? Like, am I doing more for others than they do for me? Do I feel like I need to do something even though I don't get anything back? And then the other thing is like the lack of self-love. Usually these women are very outward focused. They take care of their family. I'm saying women, but these people, it's just very prevalent with women. These people are more outward focused. They do a lot for the people in their lives, but they don't necessarily feel like they get the same in return, and they also don't give themselves the same in return. The other pattern that exists is self-criticality. The area right below your collarbone is where your pericardium lives. Pericardium is essentially like a protective sac around your heart. And physically you can understand that, but also metaphysically, a protector for your heart. Ooh, right? A lot can get buried in there. What are you protecting your heart from? Why would your heart need protection? So if that area is inflamed, which it often is in shoulder issues, you're very self-critical. You probably had very critical parents. You aren't giving enough love to yourself, and you're protecting your like squishy, delicious, loving, beautiful feelings from hurt and from being known even. So you might do a lot for someone, they're not doing much for you, but you're not going to say anything about it, even though it hurts you inside. And so your pericardium, when it starts to protect yourself from, or protect your heart from those kinds of hits, then it starts getting inflamed because it's being overused. So self-criticality, not giving yourself enough love, being overprotective of your heart because you're so hurt, but you don't want that to be known. All those things are aspects of the shoulder pain issue, coming from the pec, the chest area, the pericardium area. And then the serratus anterior aspect of it, which is accessible, which is a rib muscle, accessible essentially like under your armpit on the side of your chest, comes from a lot of, well, physically comes from like leaning on things, like pressing down on things. It's a pressing down muscle, but it's also, again, surrounds the rib cage, right? A protective cage itself in the name, a protective thing around your heart and lungs, right? All of your like squishy organs, the ones that help you be alive and beat, right? So, the trend here is there's emotions that you are not tapping into. There's love you're not giving yourself, and that is making that pull on the front part of your body much more than the back part of your body. And of course, this is, there are physical aspects to this, right? Like, again, like desk work, it's because, your desk work and you're not doing enough, stretch to even it out. You're using your front a lot, not using your back a lot. Most people don't focus on back muscles when they work out. So they tend to have weak backs or weak cores, because again, just an imbalance. But this is when like something acute happens, right? You might have chronic pain, but then out of nowhere, you just can't get this shoulder pain to go away. Those are the things that you want to listen to. And a lot of times too, it does have to do for women with their mother. So if it's more on the left side, I would ask people like, what's your relationship with your mom like? If it's more on the right side, it's not even like, it doesn't have to be like mother, but mother figure. It could be a mother-in-law. On the right side, it could be a father-in-law. It could be a boss even. I've seen that a couple of times, where it was a woman working for a male CEO, and they had a great relationship, but they had such a close relationship that it affected her a lot. But anyway, so those are my 4 examples. The throat, the throat tickle, throat chakra issues, the allergies, the headache issues, the shoulder. Well, fourth one third one was the hip, leg issues, and the fourth one was the chest pericardium issues. Hope that's really helpful for you guys. Recognizing these things in our bodies and then focusing in on them is a great seed for meditation sessions, but it also really does take you much further into knowing yourself, your persona, your I, but also this like living corporeal being that you're in charge of taking care of for this lifetime, and just making that a lot more aligned and harmonious between the various parts that are constantly kind of challenging each other for balance. Let me know if there's any others that you've recognized. Let me know if you try this, and if there's others that you're dealing with right now where you're like, I got this weird kink in somewhere, or like my ankle's doing this weird thing. Can you help me out? I will happily help you out. I still I massage my dogs all the time. I don't do massage as a job anymore, but I still absolutely love it. So if I can help you in that way, yes, absolutely. Throw it in the comments, write me an email, and I'd be happy to help you through that. All right, guys, that is it for today. A little bit of a longer episode. I'm kind of proud of myself. But hopefully it was really valuable to have those 4 examples and to just kind of the idea of the psychosomatic connections. And I will see you next time